If they're right and you're wrong, then that's a good thing, because therefore they know more than you. And that's what you want, right?
You've launched a lot of offers and you work with a lot of people. So there must be a team behind you. How do you build this team, and how do you get people to be on your mission in order to kind of achieve the success that you've achieved?
I learned this the hard way, because I was like probably one of the worst people in the world at hiring, because I got really good at like marketing and sales. So, when you develop that muscle, every other muscle kind of just isn't there. Because, you can cover up a lot of weaknesses when you can generate money, right? Because you spend more money, right?
Yeah.
So I found over time, it's like you have to find people who are growth oriented and passionate, right? And believe in the same mission. And then, so I have this philosophy that served me very well. But basically, it's like, if you work with certain people, in a sense, they help you achieve your dreams, right? And so, like, my whole thing is like, when I work with people, like, I find what their dreams are, and then I do everything in my power to help them achieve their dreams. And so, typically, what I'll do is I'll pay more, about 30 to 50% more than what what they agree to. So, for example, if you start them at something, then you increase it a month in, whatever. But I pay attention to, the biggest thing I pay attention to, honestly, is passion, right? And I got this from my buddy Jay. I watched him hire some people. And I was like, how'd you build such a great team? And he's like, I just hire for people that are passionate. I'm like, what's that mean? He's like, they spend their own money learning, right? They spend their own money on learning, because it's all about trade-offs, right? So in a world where it's like, you have infinite, possibility, entertainment and such as like, you can, consume content, play video games, be on Facebook, be on TikTok, whatever, right? You can do infinite, you have infinite options, right? And then in that world where somebody goes and spends time to learn and grow, you can tell they really are about that, right? So I look for those people. Very hard to find though. So when you find those people, they're like self-growth oriented and passionate, and they spend their money on it, right? They spend their money. And then what I do in my company is we have a budget, right? We have a budget for education. So anything they want, we buy for them. So like any type of course, training, whatever, they just got to come to me and say, hey, I want to buy this. And it's like, the request is never rejected. So we spend a lot of money on education training, because what happens is that, in an ecosystem where there's a lot of information that exchanges, right? Such as the internet, like there's a lot of, data exchange, right?
Yeah.
So humans tend to, we move and do things when we have new data. They give us certainty, right? So it's certainty. And so when there's more data in the marketplace, more people will do new things, which drives change, right, on the macro. And so the only people that are worth having are the people that can exceed the rate of change and adaptation, right? Because one of the biggest things, I teach this, one of the biggest things I teach about offers is like, it's not so much, most people are focused on a CRO, like CRO, right? Like, conversion rate. Like, nobody knows what that really means, right? It's basically what it means is like, a lot of people are just like guessing, right? In the sense like, well, let's try this button, maybe this shade of blue is going to convert better. And oh my God, and it's like the greatest thing ever, right? But really the approach to optimizing offers is to adapt offers to the marketplace, right? So you don't optimize offers, you adapt offers to the marketplace. That's how it works, right? And so very few people get this. And so an example of this would be, for example, Apple, right? And so Apple had a small phone, right? It was like tiny. You need like a magnifier to read the damn thing. And then Android came with a big phone, right? And so people were like, yeah, we want big ass phones, right? This is useful. And so Apple was like, oh, and then Tim Cook was like, fine, here's a 17-inch phone, whatever, right? So now I hear Tim Cook is making like a 16-inch iPad, which would be like the greatest thing ever, because that's like been my dream machine forever. I'm like 16-inch iPad, battery life 3 days, so good. So
nice.
You adapt to the market, right? But to the degree that you can adapt to the market is the degree that you can synthesize and new knowledge and know how to implement that knowledge, right? That's why I'm like, I learn 24/7, and so that's one. The other thing is really every market has a syntax, right? As far as how people go. And so like, there's 5 aspects to a human personality, right? Which is basically like information. Information, place, people, activity, and things, right? And so there's no right or wrong order. However, different industries will dictate which structure. So for me personally, mine is like, first is information. So like you can see there's books everywhere. Like I have like hundreds of books all over the place. Like, so yesterday I read like 5 books, right? That's all I did. I just literally read all day.
You listen or you read?
I read. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. They weren't that long. They were like maybe like 100 pages each or something, right? So I read like 5 books. Yeah. So I read 5 books, and I try to do like 2 to 3 a week, right? So information is very high in my structure. And then the second thing is like basically place, where I'm at. Third thing is people. And that's why I'm really good at building communities, like, people. Fourth thing is, what is it? Was that information? Let me try to remember the structure. So information, place, activity, like things I do. And the last thing is things, right? So, I used to buy a lot of supercars and all these things. And it's like, I just couldn't get motivated by it. It was just like you buy it and it just loses its appeal after like, 2-3 months, right? So, yeah. So when I, knowing the structure of the human personality, then I go, okay, well, what people are motivated by this, right? And I know how to get them and how to test them and how to identify them and then put them into the right place so that, and then you got that with the passion growth index, and then you have that, and then you have like a really great team. You know what I mean? So
that's good. So basically you determine what their dreams are, and that gives you an indication of, what kind of person, if you ask somebody like, what's your goal? And they're like, it's kind of indicative that this person maybe not as passionate. So that's interesting. That's, and always, I agree. Like as a business owner, it's, you hire for personality more so than knowledge, because the knowledge can get there. And, obviously you need a basis of something, but personality is really what's going to determine usually somebody's success. So that's a great tip, making sure that, you're hiring people who are passionate and finding out what their passions are.
Self-taught is the sign of passion, self-taught. But you again, it goes back to you'll have a lot of people who just want the outcome, right? And it's like, if it's like that, they don't, so you'll get this very low level. I got this one thing. I think I saw Elon Musk talk about it, so I adapted. And so basically what you do is like when you interview people, you ask them to teach you something, and then you pay attention to the structure of their ability to synthesize thoughts and simplicity. And then you question it, and then you watch how they push back, right? How they push back as far as like, your ideas are wrong, right? So you don't want to be right all the time in a team. That's dangerous, right? And so it's like you want to come in and basically, because if you're right, then you know everything, you don't need them, right? What's the point? So if they're right and you're wrong, then that's a good thing, because therefore they know more than you. And that's what you want, right?
Yeah, hire smarter. Hope you found today's session valuable. If you have any questions for me or just want to connect, please feel free to visit my website, mariasparagus.com. That's mariasparagis.com. I'd love to hear what you're working on, so drop me a line on any hot button issues your business is experiencing. And remember, don't worry about failure. You only have to be right once.